So this is what you've been wanting to demonstrate to me.
Yeah.
This is how much punishment
Sukhoi can take.
7 can take. And this was the Sukhoi 7 flown by your
My
squadron
CO,
commander?
Wing Commander
Mangat.
Mangat.
That's why the tail is called Mangat.
Mangat.
And he was flying this aeroplane during the time I got shot.
Oh, in the
different,
same rate.
different mission.
I see.
Eight aeroplanes were airborne.
Right.
He was leading 4 and I was in the other 4 on way to Shorkut and they were on their
Number
way
4.
Number 4 in the mission.
The usual suspect.
Exactly. The most vulnerable one.
Yeah.
But he was the leader.
So tell us a bit about the damage this has taken. I mean, as a civilian,
you can
I can see the
rudder,
lots of bullet holes.
That's the rudder, which is one of the moving parts of the aeroplane.
That's gone.
Which is badly damaged. Then this is the stabilizer, which both sides are shot up, the left as well as the right one.
Right.
Then apparently there are some holes in the drogue chute, the tail chute that stops the aeroplane after landing. I'm sure he didn't use it, or maybe it worked. And there could be some other holes somewhere here and there.
Actually, the wings have a lot of holes inside them.
So this is a major damage which very few aeroplanes can take and yet keep flying.
When you started planning, what are the first things you did to dig that tunnel or hole or whatever?
Well,
the very
in my case, it started much earlier than that. In my personal
I believe
case,
you wanted to kidnap a Pakistani soldier.
that was the first thought which came to me. You know, whenever you wanted to go to the toilet late at night, one very sleepy corporal with a side holster and a revolver used to come. I remember his name also. It was one Corporal Mahfouz Khan. He was a Pathan from NWFP, very dopey. And I thought I can easily capture him. I was young, in my early 20s. So, and hold his revolver against his head, hold him as hostage. You see, this romantic idea had come to me because of the aeroplane which was commandeered by an Italian lover in USA. This happened just before I wanted to. And he got the pilot to fly it back all the way to Europe. But those are American values and Italian values.
Moreover, Rag, you were trading a poor corporal or somebody for a flight lieutenant. It was never going to happen.
Yes, I know. In fact, when I thought over it in a cold atmosphere, I thought in our country they would shoot him before they shoot me for allowing this to happen. So I gave up that idea.
So when did you figure out, and what did you start doing when you looked at this wall and the window?
No, we decided
First
that
the window.
see, we knew from our observations from the bathroom where you could pull yourself up into a little ventilator that there is a definite unprotected area behind this particular room. That's a biggish room. And there was a little corridor through which these people used to move up and down, the Pakistanis, from that particular building to our area. And that building was the recruiting and information center for Pakistan Air Force, which was completely unprotected during the evening and night, and one chowkidar used to sleep outside. So we knew that if we could go through this wall, we are in that building. So that started the original area from where we are going to make it. And that was Dilip's room to start with.
And you then were able to scrape out that window?
No, window story is before that.
Before
window
that.
thing was, he was trying on the window by himself. Window was also in the same room.
In the same room.
Leading into the same little corridor.
That corridor,
Yeah.
you see, the window had a location such that it could only be seen from a very specific, very short zone. Otherwise, it was out of sight from everywhere else. Also, it was already a very old building.
Half gone.
It was already very old building.
Moving, the
So
frame was
the
moving.
wooden frame was rotted quite a bit. So that is what gave me the idea, and I thought I'll work on it. And I did work on it up to the point where one push would have sent it out, and that required cover of bad weather. So we did get those pre-monsoon.
Can you imagine fighter pilots praying for bad weather?
I know. It depends on the circumstance and the situation where you are. But anyway, thereafter, once we got down to the genuine plan where we finally made it,
That is after Gary joined us, sort
where
of, so to say.
we
This
had
was-
the wall worked out, we had the bed placed there, the bed covered with blankets, maneuvered from here and there.
And how did you dig that hole?
you see this building it's an old Hindu gentleman's building from God knows when. It had an 18-inch thick wall. You know the bricks, how they put one after another. And the mortar on the sides, we knew the mortar inside, we had to scrape that off. But the mortar outside we did not know. But in between the bricks, which we call the masala in our language, was not very strong. It was like either the tuna thing which they used early days, or poor quality cement, or even...
And what did you use to scrape this?
We had a knife, a fork, and in there we were allowed to call a little boy to give us soft drinks like Coke, Pepsi. And they do not remove the lid because it litters.
Right.
Have you seen an engine valve?
Right.
An automobile engine valve? They had sharpened it, and they used to put the valve on top and bang a hole in it and put the straw in that.
I see.
So I took this valve from him. I said, "Yaar, valve man de de." So he said, "No, no, main karunga, tu aur le le kar ke." We kept that valve back. So
Also, scissors.
We had a scissor.
You know,
beard,
we had all. I had also
grown a beard.
Grown a beard. We all had.
So
beard.
these three, four things we had, which you could scrape the mortar between the bricks. And we'll get down at night, one after another, between Dilip and me. I'll get half an hour, then I'll get out, then he'll spend an hour there, then I'll get back. Like we went on till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the night, while Chatti and Hari Singh ji would keep watch. So every time the
But
guard...
nobody heard anything outside suspicious?
No. The guards were far away, or they're patrolling.
About 10, 12 feet away, that's all, 15.
And this
And
slow
night
process
is
scraping.
Yes.
And this mortar that came out, we'll put it in Red Cross boxes and stack them up right in front of them during the day. They could see, but nobody opened to see what is inside. So the all boxes are lying there, stacked up with water, and clean it, put the bricks back. So next day again. So this process went on for like
More than a month.
What was your inspiration? I believe The Great Escape, Steve McQueen,
Oh yeah, we've seen all those movies, we read all those books.
Papillon.
Papillon.
Papillon was, I had read Papillon just prior to
The One That Got Away. Have you heard of One That Got Away? Von Vera?
Yes.
Yeah. So these books we've all read. And of course, ideas you get, how they did it.
And I believe you said that even if I know prisoner exchanges tomorrow, I will still try to escape tonight.
today.
Why not?
When it came to a crunch one day, that people were saying, we'll go next week, 10 days. That's why I had to give them something very finite.
कि मैंने जाना ही है.
जाना ही जाना है.
This is the route of choice.
It's like trying to complete 100 with a 6.
Yes.
When it's there for the taking.
Quite right, yeah.
So what happened when you first got out? 3 of you got out, Chatti stayed inside.
You see, once the hole was ready and we had the plaster removed, everything, which is I don't want to go through the whole book. Then three of us, we were prepared. We told everybody that, we'll be going. By the way, before that, 2 of our attempts had failed, thanks to not being able to break the
Not only
plaster.
yes, you see, Gary is, because of his father's experience with criminals in Amritsar, he had given this idea that we can make this. We can go through this wall in one night.
I see.
Because
thought
that's
so.
what
Yeah, 18 bricks
that is
would-
what burglars used to do in Amritsar.
Right.
So,
But it didn't work.
But we found this plaster to be a very huge obstacle. What we had to do is, we had to make a groove right along the periphery of that whole
Plaster.
thing which we had said. We had made a size, 18 bricks you can imagine, where we could crawl through easily.
It's like this big.
And we were making a groove right along the boundary of it. And I must again quote, Gary was the last person to work on that. When he finally broke pieces of it, he said, Dilip, ये तो बिस्किट की तरह टूट रहा है.
And then you smelled freedom.
I know. We could see outside clear. And just started raining, like drizzle.
That bad weather which we were
Shaukidan
hoping
got
for
up.
all along happened that very time.
Things really worked
Providence
at that time.
was on our side.
Yeah.
And I believe you walked out when a movie show had ended, so there was crowds.
That's
on the
right.
street.
We presume a movie show because everybody was running in rickshaws, tongas, shouting, and, typical Indian scene.
Right,
and we just went over the wall, and we were like anybody else on the road.
So then what happens? Now you're on your feet.
We are marching towards, let's say, Landi Khotal. And we come to a place because Peshawar University is on our right. So we discovered that this university, a lot of people there, we don't know whether to proceed or stop. He suggests let's hide under a culvert. There's a railway line on the left. go along the railway line. That was also turned down.
which we had studied in the maps.
That there's a railway line. We
That
go along the railway line, sit
railway
under
line
the
goes on
culvert.
the left. So that was part of the plan, to follow the railway line. And that was going past Landi Kotel up to Landi Khana Torkham.
Yeah. Landi Khana, last
Landi
railway.
Khana, according to the map, Landi Khana was the last halt of that this thing. But that was a gap in our intelligence. That was a major gap. It was there in the British days.
But not now.
You see, there was
It has been plucked
Landi Khana had vanished.
Yes.
So
Landi
finally,
Khana-
when we reached there, after one bus ride and another bus ride,
We were searching for a place that didn't exist anymore.
That's right.
and we didn't
It
go.
was a train station in British time.
Yeah.
So that is why we presume that it must be having some
We could have easily
It's a
told.
landmark of some sort.
some landmark.
We could have told the taxi fellow we want to go to Torkham.
Right.
We said if we tell him Torkham, he'll say, oh, they want to cross the border. So we said, we Landi Khana, we want to go and see Landi Khana, and we are going back.
So that was the mistake you made.
There was no Landi Khana.
Then you got caught. Once you got suspicious, then the Tehsildar's clerk, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yes.
happened to be his Tenno clerk,
Tenno
whatever it
somebody.
is.
So he got suspicious of who you
But
were.
that's all. He was like,
And he started asking.
we're
questions.
standing here, three of us, tea shop, and we're talking to the taxi guys, negotiating, just for negotiating sake to bring the price down. There's
Yes,
no
you
need.
see,
We
It
had
because-
doesn't look like you're throwing money at
We
him.
had
That's
them,
right.
that's
That's
it.
right. We can't look like beggars and say, okay, 30 bucks is 30 bucks. Come on, let's go.
You're asking for 100, here's 200. No. We're bringing him, just being natural.
Huh.
But this guy standing, the road is not very wide where that board is, and he
And
comes across, he says, "Kaun ho, kahan jana hai?" Things like that. So we said, "Hum Lahore se aaye, hum Landi Khana jana hai." No, Landi Khana, there was no Landi Khana. In the meantime, Dilip had gone and brought the caps. We had the caps around our head, and we had finished the tea thing. People started gathering.
and we decided 30 rupees to 30 rupees, let's go. Because money was not a question.
We're
We
getting
had
into
money.
the taxi. Just
And you
about.
were getting a POW allowance, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Started
yes.
57 rupees a month, which is a princely figure.
Which-
in addition to your salaries in India.
which I saved very
Carefully.
every month.
Right.
And at the end of the month, on the last 2 days of the month, the group used to get after me. Dilip, तू इस महीने तो नहीं जा रहा यार. Let's buy Kurmani. Let's buy that.
Apricots.
Kurmani.
No, we
Yes,
had
apricots.
apricots, we had chocolates, we had the condensed milk tins.
Right.
We had
With that
quite a-
money.
And that was part of our escape kit.
Yeah.
We prepared a very
So
nice
then,
kit.
so then these people surrounded you and you were caught in a way.
Yeah, the Tehsildar finally, he said no. He called some people. They took us to that so-called prison there, and they locked us up. When they locked us up, they searched us. Anytime you lock anybody, you search him. We had POW ID cards.
Right.
So our ID cards came out, and they're in English. So these people, none of them could read English. So he takes these 3 cards and he walks off and goes to the Tehsildar. Now the Tehsildar also comes back with these cards, and he probably figured out what they are and who they are. And we are locked inside this cell, and they are outside, and he's shouting at us, "Very tum Hindu ho, ye ho, wo ho." And then, of course, he orders them to open. In the meantime, he's told the political agent, Mr. Barki. So Mr. Barki says, bring them over. So they handcuff us. They don't know blindfolding there. They just handcuffed us
That only had come.
and walked us through
Through
the
the
bazaar
village.
with people looking at us and following us to Mr. Barki's office, which happened to be holiday. Poor chap, he got dressed, came from home to face us. First thing he did was had our handcuffs removed, made us sit down, made us comfortable, tea came. And then, of course,
They have a conference room
Yeah.
for the, very elaborate conference room for the tribal chiefs.
Right.
In the NWF.
Where they do jirgas.
Yeah.
That's it. It was called the Jirga Hall. We were in the
there.
Jirga Hall.